sur mon chemin, comme je suis bien, sans mes tracas.
You are now listening to Femme Regard Podcast with Tessa Markle and Carolina Alvarez. Femme.
Hey, Femme Fam, welcome back to another episode on the Femme Regard Podcast. We so appreciate you guys as our listenership, and as always, if you rate our podcast and subscribe to it, that really helps our show and helps us, know you guys listen to this shit. I was like, why am I not gonna curse? But no, it really does help us know who's out there, and any reviews, it's always great to hear back feedback. And we're just excited to bring another guest on today, whom I met at the UCSB Women in Media Conference. I'm just trying to get all the ladies who are on the panel with me on the show because they were so well spoken.
Yeah.
Each have their own superpower, let's call it that, And today we have a music director queen, Roxana Baldovin, on the show, who that has been her bread and butter. She's worked with legendary celebrities like Doja Cat, Wiz Khalifa, Snoop Dogg, a lot of reggaeton artists that we get into. Ooh, my arse did not roll. That was not
It's early in the morning.
Reggaeton. Reggaeton. I gotta warm up. And she's Maluma, Colombian king. There's just she's just worked with such amazing high profile celebrity artists, and we get to kind of hear the tea on music videos, which we haven't gotten into in such a long time. And so it was really cool to hear that landscape and the differences between music video work and commercial work, which she's also done. And she's now very focused on narrative works and even stepping in as an actress. So Señora Directora, she goes by on Instagram. She's like feeling a relaunch because, as a lot of us on the show, we do more than one thing, right? So it's we're very excited for her, and I think you guys will have a lot of fun listening to this. We also step into some reality TV, as she was on HBO's Project Greenlight, pitching to queens like Issa Rae. So we get into so much, and she's just was so fun to talk to.
Yeah, and I love that she, sometimes you see people go through the career changes, like doing different mediums, whether it's music videos, commercials, narrative, whatever. And it's kind of like, they're stepping stones. Like they start with this and then they move into this. But I love that she's still embracing all of it. She's still doing all of it, and she's just breaking into these different areas to, I don't want to say just try them out. That sounds like it's flippant. But she's getting to try all of these different things and getting to still experience all the cool successes with all of them. So I love that. And I think this is also a really great episode that talks about really using your own creativity to be unique, whether it's coming from your own life story and experiences and background and culture, or just some really cool creative ideas that you shouldn't be afraid to just step outside of the box with, because that's what's really going to make you stand out and make you unique. And chances are people are going to either relate, they're going to really love it and be surprised by it and all of the good things. So don't be afraid to step outside the box and be creative.
Yes. So with that, fam, enjoy the show. Roxy, what's up? You're in Poland right now? That's so crazy.
In Poland, yes. My mom lives here. So spending
it's so crazy. You're with your mom right now? The familia. We love a Polish mom.
Carolina always finds the Polish people. I love it. It's so funny.
I know, it was actually really crazy how we connected on that, because I was not usually if someone says they're Polish, they don't speak Polish. So I was like, oh my God, okay. Moja dziewczyna, let's go.
Moja dziewczyna. We should tell the story actually on the pod how we met. It was really that connection was so amazing to have in the moment which we had it. we were at the Women in Media UCSB Spring Conference. This is another guest from the conference. We just had a Haviland on. And I was up there telling everyone about my latest projects and how I like to use like my cultural backgrounds into my films and projects. And with Sync, as some of you might know, my actual Polish mother, she plays my mom in the film, and so you hear us having Polish conversations. Shout out to Sophia. Bożena, but Sophia. And so Bożena. Everyone's like, that's so Latina, but like, yeah, she made herself more Latina funny, here in the US. Yeah. Bożena is like, and my boyfriend actually for the first time last night found out that was her actual first name.
But like I guess Bożena doesn't really have a translation in English, right? So she just like picked
like, what would it be, Barbara? Like no,
I think there is a Barbara. Basha.
Basha.
I think it's Barbara. I could be wrong.
Barbara?
I think so.
I love the Bashas, the Kashas, and
I know
she's a
so
Benya.
much
You know, so many Kashas. But yeah, I was mentioning that on the stand, and I was like, yeah, so we speak Polish in the film, and Roxy just shouts it out like, stop. And I forgot what you said in Polish to me.
I think I
but
said
we
you got your movie close. I was like, you speak Polish? Like, I was like, what?
Yes. And then I was just like, yep. And we just started talking on the stand, and it was hilarious because I agree. Like, I don't think you meet many who speak the actual language and have a straight up Polish mom. Like, growing up in that household is really fun. And I just think it's like why she was such a fun character to like bring on to the film, because I don't know, like it wasn't so much of a statement of like being Polish, but coming from and this is so funny because my character is from Brooklyn and you are from Brooklyn.
Yes.
That is a community that's there, and a lot of first generation Americans are there. So I think that's actually a like nice little segue, I think, to, you know, speaking on your cultural background, because you're not only Polish and you are Brooklyn based. So like, let's get into that. What's your little melting pot?
Yeah, so I grew up in Brighton Beach, which I didn't even realize until I left Brighton Beach that it's like very famous to anyone who's from like this former Soviet Union. Because basically, like, I mean, my mom came in 1968. She was like 16, but the biggest emigration came in like 1991, around like 89 to 93. Of like after the Soviet Union crashed, and so like all my friends growing up were like Georgia, Kazakhstan, Armenia, like Ukraine, whatever, like from different parts of the Soviet Union, former Soviet Union. And it was like my mom was born in Ukraine, so my grandmother would speak to me in Russian, but then my mom was Polish and she grew up in Poland because she moved to Poland when she was 5. And so she was more Polish. So it was like, and then my dad was an Italian American, like super Brooklyn Italian, like exactly what you see in the movies with the accent and everything. And so it was like for like the kids in my neighborhood, I was like too Polish. I wasn't really fully Russian because I was more Polish, but then like or like American, right? And then I went to high school in like, you know, more like in Park Slope, another part of Brooklyn that's more like, you know, where the hipsters live. And everybody there was American. So to them, I was like the trashy Russian girl, like, you know, from like, you know, they wouldn't even like know my neighborhood correctly because it was like there was Bay Ridge, there was Sheepshead Bay. And I'm like, no, I'm not from Bay Ridge. I'm from Sheepshead Bay. Thank you. So yes, I definitely grew up like very like, even though both my parents were European, it still felt like a very mixed household because like my mom was Jewish, my dad was Protestant. So I never really felt like fully like I belonged in one. And then like within my mom's own cultural background, she still was mixed, you know, so it was very much like a hodgepodge of things. So yeah. And then, you know, growing up in New York, everybody's a first generation something. You know, I had a lot of Latino friends like from Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic. Like grew up listening to a lot of reggaeton. And then I don't know, like I guess in college I kind of like forgot about it, whatever. And then after college, like Bad Bunny started coming out. And I was like, oh my God, I remember this music that I used to love so much. And yeah, I started spending a lot more time in Puerto Rico and DR. Like I was like working on a lot of videos in like, the American space.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, I really want to work with these people over there. And so I kind of like started from the bottom again, like doing like $5,000 music videos again, just to like it was like so cool for me to like work with this guy Kimiko in DR. He's like a local Dominican rapper, but like, I mean, and in DR, when we were shooting our video, like everybody on the streets, like taking photos, like he's not necessarily known like outside of the scene. And I was on it before everybody hopped on it, and then Colin Tilley started doing the videos for the Latinos, and it just like blew up into this global phenomenon. But yeah, I spent a lot of time in Puerto Rico. I bought a house there a couple of years ago. So yeah.
So you were doing, well, that's incredible that you went from, a space where you really felt comfortable, but you wanted to push yourself outside of that into something that actually like really called to you, it felt like, in the music. And I just want to back it up because I feel like did you do the jump out like after college?
Yeah, of course. No, I was definitely not directing. I mean, no, I started directing, I guess, my senior year of college. I did a commercial company called State Bike. And then, I did some music videos. But yeah, no, I would say this was when I was 27. My Saturn return is when I
there we go.
was like, wait, I'm a Caribbean baby. I need to go explore outside of me. And it was like crazy because I remember my first time flying to DR to do a video. I was still not like 100% confident in my Spanish, and DR is not like first of all, Dominican Spanish is like a whole other bowl of soup because like they cut the they like, I love the way it sounds, like they cut at like all the ends of their words, and like their metaphors are so beautiful, but I was scared because I was like, in Puerto Rico, I was able, like, everyone speaks English in Puerto Rico, like it's America, but DR is not that. Like nobody spoke English, so like I was like directing, like I had to like come in, like I had to just like have the confidence to like direct fully in Spanish, like who gives a fuck about your accent, because you're only gonna get better at speaking a language if you practice it,
1000%.
And so like it would get to a point where like some of my friends that were Puerto Rican and Dominican by blood, like they'd be like they would be less confident in their Spanish than me, or like I would like be teaching them words, and I'm just like, you just have to try, because I bet you could do it, like don't care about like if they're gonna think you're a gringa or whatever, like just speak your truth, man. And that's how I got my name too, Señora Directora, because in DR they had never really seen a female director before. So Señora.
Yes.
And
let's
then like
represent, queen.
Yeah, and like I will get stopped on the street on the islands, and they'll be like, Señora.
I love that. How did you learn Spanish then? Like prior?
Well, I learned it in high school. From like 7th grade to like college, I took it. So that's like a basic understanding, but I don't really feel like that's like knowing Spanish,
Agreed.
until you like go.
Are there.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like until you like immerse yourself in a culture. And I was like listening to Alafoque, like the Dominican radio show. It's like the Dominican Breakfast Club. I would just listen to it, and like obviously, like reading the lyrics of like a Bad Bunny song, some boys sprinkled in between.
It always helps.
All great ways to learn.
Yes, 10 out of 10 recommend.
So it sounds like going down there and really like, being the only female director these people have ever seen, like that kind of really blossomed your career. But you had mentioned that you were already directing music videos before then too. Like, how did you even start there?
Yeah, I was doing Doja Cat and Wiz Khalifa and Kalani and like all these A-listers in America. And I was like, I want to be on an island speaking Spanish and like, doing the reggaeton, because that's the music of my soul.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, that's that's an outstanding career to have, to work with such high A-list celebrities here. What got your first steps into music videos and getting to work with those celebrities? Was it, doing a bunch of spec music videos? Was it working with other artists? Talk a little bit to that for anyone who's looking to break in to the music
Yeah.
video industry.
Well, I think that if you have anyone like in your immediate circle, or not even necessarily immediate circle, but because now it's social media, it's like so much more attainable. Like if you find an artist that you like that has like 10,000 followers, chances are if you DM them, they'll see it, And so yes, my music video, their first video only had like 10,000 views. And then the video I did for them, their second video, ended up getting 12 million views. And so then I worked with them a lot in my early career. Like I worked with a few local Brooklyn artists, Phony People and Underachievers primarily. Phony People is like every artist's favorite artist. They're like Chance the Rapper loves them, like, Mad People. I'm like always like Caliucci's, like they were on tour with Princess Nokia. Like I don't know, like you look.
I love Cali.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're like more like R&B, and like they're like a live band, like 6 of them. And then the Underachievers were rappers. So I was working with both of them, and then we had a video. It's so crazy because like in the beginning of your career, when like you really have to scrap for everything, I feel like you're so creative. And so we shot a video in Washington Square Park. I had like 5 PAs that were just like standing, like making sure that the park was locked. We had like 100 extras, and that were fans of them because they had a following at this point, like a cult following. They were like the first rappers to do like third eye rap, And so yeah, one of the girls that came out, she was an intern at Atlantic Records, and so she was like, "Hey, I would love to show your stuff to my boss." But that process from like her showing her stuff to her boss and then me actually getting a video from her boss was still a year and a half. And then the first video that we did with them was Little Uzi Vert, P's and Q's. But like I remember the first time she sent a Stolly music video for $10,000. I was like, oh my God, I made it. Like, it's cool to remember those wins,
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. You always got to remember where you came from and still celebrate those, even if it's like you get to a point where that feels small, like that's huge for somebody just starting out, so you always have to like remember that's where it all came from.
Also, it's like there was like not only a shit ton of rejection in that year and a half, because like first of all, she was our only contact. Like now obviously I know like a million commissioners. But at the time that was like my only like friend. Oh my God, like, and honestly I wouldn't have a career without her. Manny, she works at Capitol now. If you listen to if you ever saw the Young Thug NASCAR video, there's a voice note in it where Young Thug is like, and then Manny was like, and that's the Manny. She actually sent us that voice note to write the music video for that song. And when the video came out, I was so happy that I didn't do it, because I don't know if you guys saw it. It's a great video. It's one of my favorites.
I haven't seen it.
Basically, Thug never showed up on set, but the director still like created a video out of him.
Oh
not
my
showing
God!
Up on set.
Oh
And
my God!
Where I was in my career at that time, I don't think I would have been able to pull off what he did. Like that sick video of like he's just really going behind the scenes of everything. So yeah.
Oh my God. That's crazy. Oh my God, I would have been like mortified. Like, wait, what do you mean? The music video that artists I'm making for, they're not on set. But we pivot, we figure it out. But it's still like, that's like you said, like for someone who wants to actually do it the normal way when the artist is on set for their like first time.
For sure.
For sure.
The guy that did it, he was definitely a few years older and like in the game for longer and able to handle that. Whereas that was like me still like chicken without a head. Like, where do I look? But yeah, so in that year and a half, she's I don't know how many briefs she sent, but like I wrote on so many things that I didn't get. And separate of that, also like every time I would do something new, I would send it to her too. So like always remember you know, to keep people informed on what you're doing, because like
I want to
there's
ask
so
you
many
about that.
people. There's so many
Yeah.
directors, like you think you're special, but like they'll replace you like that, you know? So just be annoying, be in their ear, like, hey, the worst they could do is not respond, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's what I wanted to ask you, because I feel like this is such great advice for anyone who's trying to still grow even if you have some experience, like just still even leveling it up, you kind of have to still find, you know, network and do this kind of connecting and updating. So in that year and a half, to be a little more micro with it, like, were you just sending her updates, and would she respond to all of them? Would she not respond? Like, what kept you going? Because I know me, like, that's really hard for me. Sometimes when I'm like, okay, they didn't respond, like, I guess I'm gonna move on. Like, I don't want to bother them. You know, what was that line for you?
This was a long time ago. This was like 2015 to 2016, but I think that she was like, I was on Craigslist all the time. So I was like getting all these like little fashion gigs off of Craigslist, like little videos, like $500, like, you know, little BTS, like a random commercial, whatever. And also doing local stuff for artists, but like more investing than really making anything off it, just like enhancing your resume as you do when you're younger. But yeah, I feel like she would respond and then like send briefs. We just wouldn't get them. I don't know. I was relentless. I was like, there's no way I'm working in a fucking office 9 to 5. So I was like, the only way that's gonna happen is if I'm doing this. But I was also like, yeah, I had a really tight relationship with that Underachievers, those rappers, and so I continued like making videos for them. And I think that, you know, just being like in the local Brooklyn scene. But honestly, when I moved to LA was when things started to really pop off. Because at that time I was still like living at home, not paying rent, you know, like more flexible. But then when I moved to LA, it was crazy. It was like within a month or so that she gave us like 7 videos in a row.
Oh wow.
And I like
7? Wow, damn. That is a lot.
Within the span of a month, I did, or like 6 weeks, I did Uzi, Kalani, Lupe Fiasco, 5 videos for Trey Songs, PNB Rock, Gucci Mane, and that was all like within, you know.
That's huge.
Oh my god. Well, obviously she like grew a lot of respect for you and like the work you were doing, to just like, that shows that she was like, I have the confidence in you entirely, like, here you go. Like, it wasn't like, here's one project, like, let's see how this goes kind of thing.
Exactly.
You know. So that is a testament to your hustle and kind of how you showed yourself up professionally, which is fucking phenomenal. What goes into, I know nothing music video wise, like, you were saying you do briefs, like, how it feels like, is it like making a mini short film? That's how I think of it. So would you mind explaining the process a little bit?
Like, I like have made
I don't know.
I did one short and I didn't even write it. Which I mean, obviously people do shorts and they don't write, but I didn't really have control in the short I did, because I was like, I'm not gonna put money into this if the writer and like producer is not really gonna put anything into this, like, Jesus, take the wheel. Which is when I also said I'm like gonna be very specific about what I shoot, that I don't write if it's narrative too, you know.
Hell yeah.
Anyways, I digress. Yeah, so music videos are like the wild, wild west. I don't know if you've ever heard that analogy for music videos, but like, there's really no rules whatsoever. There's no, like, there's unspoken things, obviously, but like, things can change for so many reasons. Like, you really have to be like the most adaptable person in the world to work in music videos, because, yeah, so like, you know, sometimes they'll send you a song and they'll be like, okay, we have $50,000 and the shoot is in New York and they want to make it Barbie themed and everything has to be pink. And this is the brief. And they give you a page of things that the artist already wants. That's
okay.
And sometimes it'll happen. And the artist will get 10 briefs of pink Barbie. And then the video that comes out is about spaceships.
because they probably get so like sick of all the Barbie things. By the way, I just blew up this analogy, but I do have a video like similar of like what they wanted versus what they got was like, okay, well that wasn't fun.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So but or sometimes they'll just like the brief is open, you can do whatever you want, and you have $80,000, but it shoots next week.
Mm.
You know, so they could do that sometimes, or they could be like, you know, 250. They really want it to be stylish and edgy.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, stylish and edgy.
Like it's like it's so across the board. Like everything is like project to project. Whereas like
you never know, like you really don't know where it's gonna land, and also it's like a lot of discernment too, because like I said, sometimes they'll send you a brief where they know what they want, and then in the end the artist goes left anyways and it's like, actually my creative director is going to shoot it and we're going to do it in my mom's basement,
Or they just don't show up.
yeah, or like, you know, like I you know, sometimes like you'll be on like twice actually in my career, I like had FaceTimes with the artist, you think you're doing the video, you're talking about the brief, and they fuck with you, right? One time the song came out and the label decided they didn't want to put money into that song anymore, so they never did a video. And then the other time, the song didn't perform as well as they wanted it to, so they also didn't put money into the video. So it's like, I think it's similar in films that like other people are financing, where it's like you don't really know, like the deal's not done until the deal's done,
Right.
you know.
So
But
it sounds even more crazy. It really does. Like,
of course, because
so
then
like,
also like, do something and then it doesn't come out either.
right.
That's also like happens in commercials. I don't know. I did this commercial I was really excited about last year. Thought it was amazing. Best thing I ever shot. Like so different from anything I ever did. But it was too, even though it was their concept, because in commercials, do you do commercials ever?
No.
No, we haven't really,
Okay, so
at
in
least from the
commercial-
production side.
Okay, commercials are also different because commercials are very streamlined. They will always like more or less, it'll always be 3 people that write on it. You know, whereas like in a music video, it could be 20 people. You don't know. So it's always 3 people that they're talking to. And, you know, the schedule is the schedule. If they say September 25th, you're shooting and September 16th, you're flying in, like that's going to be the date. Whereas in music videos, the date is bullshit. Every time you see a date, it will never be that date. It's so rare. But yeah, I did a commercial last year, and you know, so with commercials, like you're kind of just directing what they're already telling you. You know, like you don't really. It's weird. Like the commercials are a lot easier in terms of like, you know, you're not really you're just kind of taking their idea and
You're not developing more than what's already
you're
like
making
given
more
to you.
money for way like really not as much work, but a lot more like busy work and housekeeping than is like necessary. You know, you'll sit like, in like 10, 30-minute meetings, you know. But you know, anyways, yeah, I did this commercial and the brand was like, oh, this is a little too crazy for us, so we don't know. It was Marlboro cigarettes. And so Marlboro
too edgy. Were you too edgy?
It was so cool, man. And like I don't know. Like, I mean, I don't care if you use this, I guess. It was such a cool commercial. It was called Symphony of Flavor. And so it was like they literally let me make a crop circle in the middle of the tobacco farm.
Yeah.
And we had like a bunch of musicians like crafting a song. And while the musicians were crafting the song, we were also telling the story of like the tobacco leaves and the way the farmers blend the tobacco leaves. And it was like right after Oppenheimer came out. So like I was doing all these like beautiful macro shots of the leaves and like, oh, that footage was to die for, but I don't have it. I've asked for it a million times. They said they might do something with it, but it won't be that. So they do.
Of course.
That's
I'm curious to see what they went with too. If that was like too crazy, because that sounds like gorgeous and cool. Like,
so with cigarette stuff, it can only live on their website, but apparently Marlboro has 4 million monthly viewers, like a really loyal fan base.
but I think their fan base is all like 65-year-old cowboys. You know what I mean? So like doing something
that tracks.
that's a little whoa for them, like electronic music. Whoa.
Yeah.
They just needed like a farmer just like going through the fields, on a
exactly.
tractor and calling it a day. Oh my gosh.
Exactly.
Well, thanks for breaking down like the differences, because it is so different, going from something that's more structured and outlined, and you're kind of just like working with something that's it's been prepped so well for you almost, than like the music video, which I didn't know it was such a jungle. I would be like, oh no, like we're doing this. I planned this.
Yeah.
mean.
And of course, like the thing with music videos though too is that like if you write something in the brief, I mean, if you write something in a treatment, more often than not, it's gonna happen. You know what I mean? So like I prefer music videos in a creative way. I prefer music videos more than commercial because a lot of times it is my idea and I get to like build the world and the artist will just go with it. Whereas like in the commercial, it's like, they hire you for your, like, it was really a learning curve for me to start doing commercials because like they hire you for your creative, but then you like start talking about it and they're like, no way, that doesn't go with the brand guidelines at all. And you don't get to edit it. You don't get to edit your own commercial either. Like it's so rare. So yeah, I think
Commercial world is so weird.
Writing your own content and doing that's the vibes, I think.
Yeah, commercial world is so weird. I've only been like in that world as an actor, but even that, it's like they'll tell you, we want you to be natural and this and that and not selling. And then you see the commercial come out that you didn't book, and they're like, "Welcome to blah blah blah," and it's like, really, like, why didn't you even bother to tell me this? Or it's gonna be the same as everything else. Like, it's just, it's a weird world to be in, but it doesn't always feel like you get to be creative with it. So I'm glad that you get to have that in the music video world, and as well as like the narrative world, because you've done a bit of that as well, right? Or
I've written a million, and I'm exaggerating, but I've definitely been writing since I was like, a kid. And but no, I haven't actually, like, I'm starting to produce my own stuff now. And I'm like very determined to do that now because I feel like you just, time goes by and then like you're like, oh, I'm gonna wait to get financed, or like, oh, I don't want to put my own money into this, or like, you like give, and then you're like, oh shit, wait, I wrote that 3 years ago. So this year I'm like very much more focused on putting out my original stories because I feel like I have a lot more to say than what I've been doing before. Like that's like like doing music videos is fun and it's pretty and it's cool. But how much can you really say when you're like talking through someone else, So
yeah, no, for sure. And like props to anyone who just wants to stay in that lane, but this is a filmmaker podcast, so chances are you want to tell your own stories, and like that could be a great way to develop skills and connections and all of that and make money. And then like now you're like you've hit your kind of glass ceiling with it, where you're like, I want to do more. I want to say more with your own words.
Yeah.
And maybe a little reggaeton in there, but you gotta you can add that. You can add that in there, girl. Yeah. Of course. Well, I do want to highlight that you've been recently a part of HBO's Project Greenlight, emerging as one of the 9 women selected out of a pool of 6,000. To present $1 million movie pitch to luminaries like Issa Rae and just so many amazing people. Like, what is that? What was that experience? And
okay, so that was really fun because my friend Johnny Hernandez, he's also a producer. His production company is called Classic. He apparently sent that to me and like the the flyer, like, oh, they're casting or whatever. Apparently he sent that to me and like 6 other female directors, and I was the only one that actually applied.
Oh.
is like crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like the only music video director on it. I mean,
Okay.
there was one other girl that like, had done music videos, but like that wasn't really her bread and butter, you know?
Right.
So
Yeah.
even that was cool to me that I was like the token music video director girl,
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it was a crazy experience. Being on reality TV is insane because like, I don't know if you guys watched The Jinx with Robert Durst.
Yes,
Do you know
I
what
just watched it actually like last week.
Okay, so you know how the last scene of the first season, he's in the bathroom and the mic is on and he goes, I killed those people. Of course I killed them. So I went to the bathroom when I was doing Project Greenlight and they're like, oh, you can't take that off. And I was like, oh my God, so that is real. Like how Robert Durst got caught. You can't take your mic off if you go to the bathroom. So we were locked in a hotel. We were at the Universal Studios Sheraton for 3 days. With the mics on for the whole 3 days. I mean, we shot 2 scenes that were deleted of me. Like, I was the only director with a glam squad. Like, I like made my hair and makeup. My best friends are my like stylist and my makeup artist. I mean, one of my best friends is a makeup artist, and then she happens to do my makeup when I want it. But
Yeah.
but
I'm
yeah, so I
dead.
got to come, and it was during COVID, so they were like, "Oh, they need to get a COVID test." I'm like, "That's fine. We're making it happen. There's no way I'm gonna be on TV without getting glammed.
Without glam.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like they filmed me doing the glam. Like there could have been like
I'm dead.
I wish that I negotiated my contract to like get the footage, but like you kind of have. I mean, at least like I don't know. Like at the time, it was like scarcity mindset of like, oh my God, if I ask for too many things, are they gonna replace me? Like, oh no, I want to be an HBO. No, I'll sign the contract. So
Yeah.
worth ladies and just ask for more always. Because yeah, the worst they could do is say no. Because another girl on the show, I mean, she didn't ask for that. She asked for like the rights to her film or something. And they gave it to her. So
Yeah. Definitely
Well,
get her to ask.
That's
Yeah, so
that's actually an even more intimidating answer sometimes. Like question is like, can I just please have the rights to my goddamn movie? And like you're always like, I don't know. They purposely like kind of don't want you to have it, so it's a weird question.
But no, I met amazing lifelong friends from that show, like other directors, women directors. So that's amazing. And yeah, I mean, it was like kind of a shitty time because it came out like during the strike, so they couldn't really like promote it or anything. But the experience itself was like so cool, and also like even directing. So basically, they gave us $5,000 to direct a scene.
Okay.
And I got Olin Prennett from mid-90s to be in it. I like saw him at a party, and I was like, "Do you want to be on this HBO thing?" And so. But doing creating that, I put some Spanish in it actually. Because we weren't allowed to change any of the words in the script. But I found a loophole because I was like, okay, but can we translate them?
Nice.
And they were like, and so like I had like Latin music in the background, like I made the neighborhood, and that was cool to do. But yeah, doing that experience like definitely just only more solidified like, oh my God, I want to do narrative stuff more. Because it's
That's
like,
amazing.
Taking like the skill set that I feel like I learned the most from directing music videos and commercials is like the importance of production design and styling and like just like building a world. Like I'm really into just like building a world that is not like our own world, And so yeah, I saw myself doing that in the HBO thing too, like in its own way, but it was like the styling that I had and like the lighting I had was because it was like a seedy neighborhood. She was like in a seedy neighborhood, and so like I made it like cyberpunky kind of and like a little, dark and dystopian. So
hell yeah, we love that. Shout out to Seek.
Right.
No, we love like genre film and world building like that. So I totally get it. It's a really fun place as a creative to like I think that's the joy for me, like coming up with your own creation and concept it's the part of enjoying movies. It's like it's a world we can relate to, but it's heightened in a way to tell a mess. It could be a singular message. It could be an emotion, whatever it is that you want to say as a director. But that's like, I feel like one of the most fun things about telling a story is the world building aspect. Absolutely. Just
Yeah.
so fun.
And getting creative with it really makes you stand out too, you know, like even when you said about like can't change the words, but you translated them instead. Like I'm sure you're the only one that did that. That makes you really
Exactly.
stand out, you know?
I was the only one that did that. So that was cool. And yeah, I don't know. You guys should check out the episode on
Yeah.
HBO.
Oh, okay. Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. It's
I'm gonna
just
get my popcorn tonight. You're like,
yeah, it was like it was crazy because it was also like, have you ever pitched a movie to a studio before?
Not
You
to a
guys don't-
studio, no.
It was just crazy because it's like it was my first time ever pitching a movie and like doing it to them and on camera. Like I definitely blacked out. But like the only thing that I didn't do, I had all these notes, and the only thing that I didn't do was like talk about like, oh, it's gonna be like The Matrix and the scene in Natural Born Killers with Rodney Dangerfield. Like I didn't say any of my references, and I mean, not that it would have changed the outcome. Everything happens for a reason, but it's just like that was like the only part that I glossed over because I was like, everybody's gonna say The Matrix. Cut to nobody said The Matrix. You know what I mean? It's like also believe that like your ideas are your own. Like I saw the edit in my head, which was like self-sabotaging in a way. And the edit I saw in my head was like The Matrix, The Matrix, The Matrix, The Matrix. No one.
Yeah.
No one.
you were like, this is so obvious. Like it has to be The Matrix.
Yeah, like and I really saw a lot of visual references that I didn't really discuss. And like even in the edit of it, it just like seems like I'm just like, I'm gonna be the best, which is like, you know, I was in there for 30 minutes and it's like a minute that they cut. So also like
Right.
I was talking about things. That was just like the character that they made me out to be. But no.
Gotta love reality TV.
I see that. I can so see that this girl with glam, and she's like, I'm gonna be the best.
You should watch it for sure.
Dead. I need to watch this. Absolutely. Because yeah, you are obviously so talented and had all these ideas, but like reality TV, they gotta have a character for you.
Yeah.
I'd be like the girl who only wants to talk about bagels and pizza because I once lived in New York and New Jersey. So, you know, that's what would be, because I was on the Wheel of Fortune. So that became my fame.
Did you win any money?
I won a couple grand. Yeah. I was terrible. Like that was the worst experience.
When was that?
During the pandemic too.
That's cool.
Yeah. I mean, if you're in LA, it's really not that hard to get on any of those shows. To be
Are you into pop culture? Do you want to be on the Pop Culture Jeopardy team? They're doing a new version of Jeopardy that's pop culture.
If you want to be my team player, sure.
Yeah,
like I would do it.
I will literally send you the code because you have to apply as a team of 3. And like I did it with my mom. I don't have a third person.
So I'm dead.
But it was actually harder than I thought it would be, to be fair.
That's the thing. It was really hard. It was not easy. It was very stressful. It was not like a day on set, which for me is like, it's stress, but it's like, I'm there and I get it. It's my world. I'm comfortable. Yeah. TV like that, and they're telling you to spin this heavy ass wheel and yelling, be happy, be excited. And you're like, where's tequila? Like, I need some tequila right now. This is so, but you know, it was fun. At the end of the day, I'm really glad I did it, and it was just an experience. But it was hard.
I was on a court TV show, so those aren't real.
I've done that too.
Oh, really? Which one were you on?
I was on America's Court with Judge Ross, and my character was suing the other character for like defamation or whatever, like basically being embarrassed because over a vibrator. So I was on morning TV talking about a vibrator in court.
I'm dead.
I did not know this.
Oh yeah,
that is crazy.
Mine was I was the best friend of a girl that was like in a domestic violence situation, and we were like suing the guy for stealing the couch or something. Like it was like
Couch
really,
TV, one of those.
Yeah, it was on Judge Mablin.
Okay.
Nice.
But yeah, that was like really, but it was funny because like they wanted me to be like the battered woman. And then when they met me, they were like, no, you're the friend. You're the friend getting upset for your.
I was like, thank you. Thank you.
From New York, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
They're like, no, not this bitch.
Yeah.
I'm dead. Well, sign me up. We can try it out again. One of those things. But it was crazy. TV, it's a time. It's a time. I don't know.
But going back to it, let's talk more about your pitch, like about your pitch, because as audience members watching the show, like you said, they only got to see like one little tiny slice of it. Like, so you had mentioned you wish you would have done more references, but like, what else did you include in the pitch? Like, what do you think makes for a good pitch for something at that level?
So I was talking about like the way I saw the script and the way I saw the characters, like it was a mother-daughter relationship, and I definitely wanted a cultural element. So I wanted them to be Black Russians because there's like 500,000 Black Russians in the world and people don't really talk about it because in the 1980s, a lot of Africans came to the Soviet Union to study in college. And so that I was like, and also because the mother character is like, she could be a little verbally abusive and stuff. And I was like, if there's random lines in Russian, this is going to slap,
Yeah.
I talked about that. And then, no, I definitely talked about the world building. It was like a sci-fi thing. And honestly, like, I still think like, damn, I could have made a fire ass movie. Like a lot of the girls were complaining about the script. I actually really I thought I could do well with the script. So basically it was like, it was a movie about it is on, so the winner did create the movie. It's called Gray Matter. It is on HBO. You can watch it. The movie that was
I've
made,
heard of that. Yeah.
the movie that was made, like no shade to Miko, she did a good job, but like the script felt so different to me. I was like, is this the same script that I read? Because I don't see any of that. Like I guess like I think that I'm a stylized director, and so like anything that I make is inherently gonna be stylized in some way. Like I saw a lot of like Holy Mountain, like there was like a lot of trippy weirdness that could have been done in it, of like just the characters were like, I don't know, I felt like it was sci-fi dystopian. Like there was like basically like this like it was called the Wellspring, and it was like this energy that is where the character, like, because the characters like had superpowers, the mom and the daughter, and the mom was trying to protect the daughter from knowing she had superpowers, but by doing that, like the girl was just not able to control her superpowers, basically. And so there was this thing called the Wellspring where they get their powers from, and like I imagine it as like this like like white like sci-fi building, like Men in Black with like these like power lines going through, and like like not stormtroopers, but like like men in these like weird uniforms, like standing like in a row, like very like kind of Soviet. Also, I did want to make like Soviet avant-garde references in it. I think I definitely said all that in the pitch, but whatever. It's fine,
But your ability, like even communicating all this to us right now, we see it visually, like by listening to you, and I'm getting your cultural background as a director, like the influences that you bring to it specifically, which makes you unique, right? And like brings your, because that's the thing, like when you get hired on as a director, it's coming from a place, again, what you spoke about before is like your creativity, but also who you are and like what you're bringing to the story. So they know, I know if I want to work with Roxana Baldovin, that she's gonna want to bring her diverse background and culture in a unique way that really hasn't been seen before. Like, I love everything you told us about historically. Like you're able to call back to that and speak so eloquently to that. So that's really unique. And anyone who's listening, like if you're still trying to find your voice and like what's going to make you stand out, like it's really just you and like what you're and how you communicate your truth to a story. And that's why for me it was like, you know, my mom in the film, it's just like I want to show the diverse culture I was brought up in a household, because that was like, that's America to me. Like that's what feels real. And it might feel super random to other people, but I'm like, again, like this is most of America. Like if you didn't notice, it's not everyone speaking the same language in a household.
Another feature that I'm working on right now, I'm probably just gonna like I had the outline, but I'm probably gonna like deck it out and then like get financing to fully write it. But the character is she's half Egyptian Muslim and half Russian Jewish, because like also like, you know, and her name is Isis.
Nice.
Oh shit.
Because we're taking it back, baby. Isis was a goddess. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like it's always gonna be something like that. Like it's never gonna be the same thing twice, because I feel like like I have a tattoo that says Earthling on it, because I really just feel very like connected to a lot of different parts of the world, like even through my own lens, you know? Like even like watching Tommy, like that felt more close to my culture than like watching something that's like Meet the Millers or something. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, oh, you know, like, I'm not the Far East, I'm not the Middle East, I'm not Muslim, but like there's a lot of overlap in our cultures, you know, just from like being Eastern European, being Jewish, like, you know, I think is he Palestinian and Egyptian Muslim? Like, I don't know, it felt very Turkish in the show. Like there's a lot of Turkish elements in where I'm from and in my culture and stuff like that. And so like that was very similar to like, oh well, Turkey is like next to Egypt, and then like, you know, the Jews were over there, and like then Turkey's like next to Russia. So you know, the world is all connected basically.
No,
it's very true.
100% relate. To me, that movie, again, not at all my culture, but just being brought up here, was Minari, and like the struggles that family went through.
It's Korean, Minari.
Minari's Korean, and like, oh my god, watch it, you'll cry. And it's like so beautifully done, and like it just like, you know, the grandma is like my babcha, but not at all. Like the grandma's a little different, but because again, Eastern European, we have different cultures, but like my grandma was a prominent part of my family, you know? So it's just, it doesn't have to be the same culture. And I say this, I've said this a couple of times in the pod, we've had Lebanese directors on. It's just the immigrant or first generation American experience. Exactly. I want to see stories like that, because that is relatable to me and my existence in the world, you know? And I think a lot of others. So I think it's a really great way, as I think as a director, for us to kind of share and I think unite a lot of people on that matter.
Really. Tessa, are you first generation?
I'm not. So my great-grandparents came over from Italy on my mom's side. Okay. So my mom is fully Italian. My dad is like a mix of so many different things, to the point where like we only have some of it, and like I've been in America for so long. So he just embraces the Italian side. So I usually just say I'm Italian.
Okay, cool.
But
cool.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, my dad's grandparents also came to Ellis Island from Italy.
Yeah, it's so funny too with Italian culture. It's like you can be removed by so many generations and it's still so embraced. Like when you're Italian, you're Italian.
I know. I like hate going to Italy because they'll like speak to me in Italian and I'm like, no parlo italiano. Pero devo parlare spagnolo. She understand a little bit of Spanish, right? That's the thing. I'm like, I speak a little bit of Italian.
She's like, literally, no.
It's not enough.
No. Like, I've taken full in Italy and in Brazil, both. Like, you just speak Spanish and, like, they'll speak back to you in Portuguese or Italian, and, like, you're having a full-blown conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, you know.
Yeah.
Great. So when I go to Italy, I'll just speak Spanish. My broken Spanish. Amazing.
Yeah, honestly.
So you're just like, pomodoro, okay.
Well, sign me up. I want to go so bad. I haven't been, and it's been my dream. So I also just want to own a burrata farm, you know, one day out there. Yeah, I love cheese.
Like, how they even make burrata, like,
you know, you have a cow. And this is what I'm thinking. Let me break it down. This is like what I envision. We got the fields. We got some cows. We got some udders.
Yes.
And then we have a bucket. And then somehow we case the cheese milk into another bucket of water that solidifies it. And you have fresh burrata and you grow some tomatoes. And I'm just going to sell it to all the rich people in California.
Cheesemakers are rolling over in their grave right now.
We're quite literally rolling in the dough, yeah. But I was like, how do you get that gooey center, you know?
Yeah.
Do you know the process of the gooey center? I guess we'll find out on your farm.
You're going to find out. You guys are welcome.
We're all
On the
going to
next
find out.
I can't share all my secrets, okay?
Of course.
There's a process.
Of course.
Well, we know you're going to be making your own narrative. You're going towards narratives, and we are so here for this journey. Please keep us posted. I know
Yes.
we'll chat. But what else is on the horizon for you that you want to leave our listeners with? And is there anything else exciting that you want to mention to us today?
I'm doing a one-woman show. So I'm filming some pre-recorded skits for it, later this month when I get back to New York. I was going to before we had Fringe this month, but then family stuff happened. So I'll probably be performing it in LA later in the year, in October, November. That's my plan. So I will let you guys know.
Yeah, please.
So basically I'm in the process of selling Chimama Shtuki. We're crossing our fingers. I'm in the process of selling 2 TV shows right now. And so the one-woman show is based off of one of those. It's like the stage version of one of those shows. Because that's the
amazing
model, the baby reindeer model. You know, those started off one people shows. So I'm really big in the solo show community right now in LA, which is really cool. I'm actually going to London next week, and I'm going to go see a solo show on the West End. So that's exciting. Because the thing about one people's shows is that none of them are alike. Every person is so individually creating it. And so I saw a one-woman show when I was in LA. You know, I've been watching a lot just to see what people do. But my friend Kim Cooper, she did a show. Hers called Transracial. I don't know. She was adopted by white parents, but she's Korean. And so her whole show is also about and she grew up in the Midwest in Iowa, the only Korean. Her show was great.
Yeah.
But she did a lot of pre-recorded skits. And I was like, oh my God, this is the fucking thing, you know? And she said, she was like, yeah, even doing that, you're saving yourself time on stage because you don't have to be running around all the time. And I got home, and the next day I wrote 10 pages of my show. I was like, yes.
Really?
I really haven't seen a lot of people do the pre-recorded skit thing. And I'm like,
I haven't.
I'm like, that is genius. Number one, your production value. Number two, you're chilling. You know, there's just a lot more leeway in that. So.
Yeah, that's smart. And again, another thing that's going to set you apart, because it isn't something common you see.
Exactly. So it's really interesting. You will always see a little pang of creativity from every one person show you see, and how they interpret the stage for themselves.
It sounds like you really have all this control and ability to do it whichever way you want to do it, and that's incredible.
Exactly.
So I'm definitely want to learn more, and definitely going to see your one-woman show. So congrats.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I think it was meant to be for me not to do it in June because I needed to see her show, and it expanded my consciousness of where I'm going to take my show. I've written all these random scenes. I don't know if you do that, but I've had one-off scenes that I've written, but not really necessarily for anything. And now they're being put in the show, so that's cool.
Perfect. Yeah.
Which is why people write shit down. Even if it's okay, I can't, I don't know if this is going to be a full feature or anything. And sometimes I'm why did I even do this? But you just never know when that is going to come back into your life and how you can use it. So if you're feeling the strike of inspiration, go write it down because it's something that you can always go back to later on. And that's really cool that you've been able to do that with all the things you've written.
So I'm working with WME right now as a writer. You know, I had a meeting with my managers and I went through my Evernote. I don't know if you guys use Evernote. If you don't, you should. It's an app. It's an app.
Evernote. Wait, I think I've heard of it. Yeah.
So I got it in like 2011, like pre my iCloud days, you know? And so now the notes are a little bit better, obviously the note app, but I still find myself using Evernote. But anyways, I was gathering like all my ideas together for our conversation. And
yeah,
I was like, wow, I don't remember writing this at all. Like, I'm like, whoa, I wrote this. What does this mean? You know, so it's always good to like write down any idea that comes into your head, even if you don't understand it later. That's fine. If it's meant to be, it'll come back in full form.
Exactly.
No,
Roxana,
I love that.
Tell our listeners where they can find you. So obviously they need to watch the show on HBO.
Yes.
But if they want to follow your journey and see more of your work and all of that, let us know, you know, social media, website, anything you'd like to share.
You can find me on Instagram and YouTube as well under Señora Directora, Senora, director with an A. I think I might be changing that soon because I feel like I'm getting more into acting and I'm hosting and I feel a little limited by that name. But transitioning is tough. So for now, that's the name.
Yeah.
And my website's just roxanabaldovin.com. So catch me there.
It's a bomb-ass website, by the way.
Thank you. I also have a podcast called Do You Boo. You're also inspiring me to maybe relaunch it. I was like doing it on Instagram Live. But Riverside seems like so easy to do on the Zoom. So maybe I'll come over and get some pointers. But you guys can find my episodes on Spotify as well. So
amazing.
But thank you, Roxy, for coming on the show today. This was such a blast. Like, just so fun to spill the tea on so many things.
Yeah.
So
thanks for listening to FemRegard Podcast. If you like what you hear, tune in every Friday for more tips on the filmmaking business and insightful conversations with industry professionals. We can only grow with your support, so please subscribe, share, rate, and review. You can also join the Fem Fam on Patreon. For more on us, check us out at femregard.com.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.